Hey, what's up, everybody? This next episode, we'll be talking about the Rising coming to Hawaii, the tryouts, the press conference, and all that jazz. So check it out. Right on.
What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Yamatodamashii podcast. Enson, it's been a while. The last time we spoke was with Frank, for our Frank Shamrock episode 2 weeks ago.
Man, that was in Hawaii. That was a while back. Wow.
Yeah. Well, you've had a lot going on, and we're going to get into all of that today. In this particular episode, we're going to discuss the Rising press conference, but also the Hawaii tryouts as well. So you were a busy guy while you were over there, right?
Yeah, very busy.
So there was actually a lot of positive feedback on the press conference. I know it's from a lot of the JMMA fans from my side of the world and the States. Everyone seemed really content with how the press conference was. Sometimes I think Rising's had a bit of criticism about the press conferences being a bit all over the place, but this one was really structured, right? What was your overall sort of takeaway of the press conference? Were you happy with how it went?
Well, I don't really participate in press conferences that much. So, especially Risings, because Pride really never had press conferences. So this is a new thing, the new era, they have press conferences. So I wasn't too familiar, so I felt it went good. I saw the work behind the prep of it and all the stress and people running around. So, I thought it went really well, considering that they were really scrambling and stressing out, I'm pretty sure they probably do that all the time, but
Special guest has joined us
here. Well, I thought it went well.
Yeah. It seems very well. It seemed there's a lot of dynamics, right? You're doing it on the beach. How many people were there? It looked like a decent sized crowd.
There's a lot of people. I mean, there's a lot of people that came to watch it. There's a lot of people that were just walking down the beach and started watching it.
Yeah.
But it was funny because, Japan, they have this real structured itinerary. And, it was in the very beginning I was going to come on. They wanted me to say a few words, talk about the tryouts, talk about Rising coming to Hawaii. Called out Egan to come say a few words. And right after Egan, BJ Penn was supposed to be there, but BJ Penn was on his way, so
yeah.
It was funny because it was when BJ was supposed to come in the night before, and he couldn't make it. He had to take care of his kids, so he kind of messaged me and said, "I gotta take care of my kids." Okay, fine, BJ, as long as you get in there by the afternoon, because we have a press conference.
Mm-hmm.
So BJ just got finished running for governor, so he was really busy. That guy has so much on his plate. So the next day he messaged me, and I messaged him, say, "Okay, what's it look like? How you doing? How's it going? What's the timeline look like?" And then he messaged me and said, "Yeah, I'll be in at 6. The press conference starts at 5." Me and BJ were going to be like the first guys on the stand,
right?
And I'm like, "Oh shit!" I wrote back to him and said, "Shit, BJ." I said, you got to get here by 5, dude. And it was like 2:30 already.
Wow.
And he was on another island. So he was on the island of Hawaii.
Right.
And he was, that's about an hour away.
No way. Shoot.
Yeah. So I'm like, oh shit. So he calls me and he says, "Okay, I'm on it. Don't worry, I'm on it." I'm like, "Okay, come on, BJ, you got to do it. Come on, man, you got to make it." And then he starts sending me pictures on the way, like a picture of him at the airport. "Okay, I'm at the airport. I'm going to board a plane now." And then the next picture I get, he's in the plane. So me and the Rising guys are looking at the timeline, and we're looking like, oh shit. He gets in at 4:30. The airport in Hawaii is about if you come straight with no traffic, it's 30 minutes away.
Oh, no way.
Shit, man, what are we gonna do, man? So we're like, okay, if he doesn't make the on the itinerary time, we'll just wait till he comes and then bring him up when he comes. We'll find an open slot during the whole thing. So he doesn't make it. I'm on stage. Egan's talking. I kept looking out. Told the security guards that if he comes, bring him up stage right away. And I'm looking. He doesn't come. Lo and behold, when Floyd was supposed to come out, he was nowhere to be seen. He was coming on his way. So it was perfect because when all the stuff that happened after me, they had the other fighters come up and talk. They had time because Floyd was supposed to be up, but Floyd wasn't there. By that time, BJ came, and right when Hagiwara and those other fighters finished their thing, they had to kill time for Floyd. So it's perfect. Like, okay, Enson, come back on stage. Let's call out BJ now. So it actually turned out very well. I mean, it came a little late. Floyd came at Floyd time. So I mean, everyone's got to go around Floyd time. That's what I noticed with the Rising guys. Everything works around Floyd time.
Right.
What time is this going to happen? Well, we want this to happen this time, but we don't know what time Floyd is coming. So Floyd coming a little late, was actually perfect. It left that open slot for BJ to come up and talk. And we actually, after when BJ was talking, you see me on the film actually leaning over to Sakakibara. I'm like, we need to kill more time. He goes, yes, we do. So it was kind of perfect. Everything worked out perfect. And right when BJ was done, he got to talk, and he kind of got to, have a little private discussion with BJ on stage.
Yeah.
Telling BJ that, we're going to have a Rising Hawaii event, and we would love for you to come and be a guest and, support us. And BJ's they're going back and forth, and BJ's saying, yeah, hell yeah, I'll support you. 100% I'll support you. So that was perfect. And then Floyd came, and everything went really. So like answering that question that you asked at the beginning, how do I think the press conference went? As much as a disaster as it looked like it might be, it actually turned out pretty good.
Yeah. There's a lot of things that could have gone wrong, and like even though BJ was late,
the stars looked all jumbled, but all of a sudden at the end, it was perfect.
Yeah. No, it was an easy watch as well. I watched it.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah, it was good watch. But I mean, lots of news from that event. I mean, the big thing that you were announcing, right, was that there's going to be an event in Hawaii. Is there a time frame for that event yet? I know they said 23.
Next year's summer. So they're shooting for next year's summer.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
And one of the big questions I noticed from fans, I'm actually part of the We Are Rising Discord. And so there's a lot of fans there. There were a lot of people talking about different things. And one of the things that people really want to know is, will it still have the same Rising rules? Because it's obviously in the US. Will they be able to still have, all the soccer kicks, all the knees on the ground, everything that people love? Do you envision it being the same rule set?
No. So in Hawaii, they have the United Regulated Rules. Regulation rules. Yeah. So the rules are like the Bellator rules.
Right.
So no foot stomps, no soccer ball kicks. But when the commissioners presented that to Rising, one championships actually was very close to getting an event in Hawaii.
Oh, I didn't know.
But that was one of the things that blocked it. They weren't willing to change their rule set.
Okay.
So which is unfortunate, I think, because one does have good competition, have good fights. So I think a lot of people, Hawaii people just love fights. And to have a big association like how Bellator went there, to have one go there, that would have been awesome for the Hawaii fans. So when I talked to Sakakibara about it, he said, yeah, 100%. We'll change to the rule set that we need to change to have an event here. So yes, Rising will adjust their rule set. And, it's going to be hard for the fighters because they're so used to doing their soccer ball kicks. But I think as professionals, they need to try to make adjustments to what they need to do. So they will change their rule set.
Okay.
Just for Hawaii.
Just for Hawaii.
Yes.
And then Saki Kabara also mentioned about working with Scott Coker. Does it sound like we may get a little bit of a collaboration with Bellator on that same Hawaii show then?
Well, yeah, Scott Coker with Bellator and Rising, they've been working together for 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah.
You know how Horiguchi goes back and forth. They actually sent one of the Rising guys, I think it was Cadwell. He
Yeah.
fought in Rising against Horiguchi. It wasn't a non-title match. So yeah, they've already had a good, good association with each other. Rampage, Fedor, all these guys all coming back and forth. So definitely, I think COVID is the only thing that really blocked any more of the collaboration happening. But yes, Rising and Bellator have a really very good relationship. So they definitely will be collabing. So I'm kind of excited about who they'll be sending over for Tsuyoshi, because Tsuyoshi's now booked to fight on October 23rd.
Okay.
And the year end. So we're looking to fight 2 more times this year.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. Yeah, that was one of my questions, because I noticed a lot of people have been speculating about, some of the spaces on the Super Rising card. There's still a couple of fights that haven't been announced. And I saw a lot of people speculating, would it be Tsuyoshi fighting on that card? So just to confirm then, he's not fighting on Super Rising, but he's fighting in October.
No, he really wanted to, though. But the opponent that we're thinking of him having or fighting, he was willing to do boxing rules or whatever, but it kind of fell through. So, yeah, he's not fighting on the card. He was kind of disappointed about that, a little upset.
So to clarify, because I think that rumor was kind of out there anyway, that Tsuyoshi might have been fighting one of Floyd's guys, right? Potentially a bodyguard. Was it the bodyguard that did the pushing?
Yes, he was supposed to. There was talks about him fighting Gigi, but that was I think that was a wish that Rising wanted. They wanted Gigi to fight with Tsuyoshi. But, apparently, from what I understand, it was never brought to Gigi. And Gigi's 180 pounds.
Yeah.
He's a shorter guy. He's thick. He's strong, but he's 180 pounds. And, he's a bodyguard. He's not a fighter. And he's a guy. I think he just wants to get in the ring and get to experience what it's like after, being Floyd's bodyguard for 14 years. They're really close. He sees Floyd fight. Of course, as a man, you want to experience that in the ring. And I think that's what he wanted. And then when they brought Tsuyoshi's name to him, he was like, no, he's too big, which makes sense,
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate, because Tsuyoshi, we understood that it was already kind of like, yeah, they want to fight you kind of thing.
Okay.
You're just looking for an opponent. Would you want to fight him? Like, okay, let's do it. So we're thinking, okay, Tsuyoshi's fighting him. And when they came back and asked and told us that he doesn't want to fight Tsuyoshi, I think Tsuyoshi had the feeling that he backed out on the fight. But doing research, he didn't back out in the fight. He just was, when he was finally offered the fight, he said, no, that guy's too big. So it wasn't something that was set at all.
Right.
So no hard grudges or anything against that Gigi. So
yeah, that definitely clears it up. I guess what's interesting, right? And this actually got quite a lot of mainstream news. I saw it from my side of the world, the Sun, the Mirror, like some of these sort of sports outlets actually covered the bodyguard pushing Mikuru, because that was quite a big thing, right? He just pushed him out of nowhere. So it made me think, do you think he's potentially on that card, maybe fighting one of Mikuru's guys, maybe?
Yeah, so that's what I understand. So yes, Gigi will be fighting on the card.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. And did you actually have any sort of interaction with the Mayweather guys and Mayweather maybe himself?
Not at all. When really? I do admire him. He's one of the best boxers in the world. You see him on TMZ. You see him on all the news outlets. Of course, he's a celebrity. I'm the last guy to fanboy on anybody, but I would have loved to meet him. I would love to shake his hand and say hello. Maybe get a picture with him. Just for my YouTube channel and for us and stuff. But when he came through, he had such a huge entourage, and they were like mean mugging everybody, and they didn't let no one get near him. So with that, the feeling that they put out is don't come near Floyd. So I had no plans to get near Floyd. Those guys were huge. Those guys look scary, and I had no plans of trying to get towards Floyd. So we just kept our distance, watched the if there's any interaction that I had to do with him, I would have. But our thing was done. We talked about the trials, talked about Rising Hawaii, and it was time for Floyd and Mikuru to do their thing. So I just stood back and watched everything go on. And you know, Floyd was very surrounded and protected, so he was very unapproachable.
Yeah, he was he sort of in and out basically? Did he just come for the press
Yes,
conference and then?
Floyd came and did his thing and left. No,
Wow.
you know, I think he's a real good businessman, and he gets paid for his time. You know, he's a busy man, and he gets paid for his time, and he did his thing and left, which is understood.
Do you think he even knows Mikuru's name? Because at the press conference, he kept talking about, "Oh, my opponent this, my opponent that." I don't think he even knows his name. He doesn't seem to be giving him any respect.
Probably not. I mean, I don't think he even does. I mean, I don't think he's even worried. I don't think he's. I hear he's not training at all.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, you think he needs to train for Mikuru? I don't think he does. Mikuru's coming into the world with his gloves, his rule set.
Yeah.
And Floyd's been doing this for more than half his life.
Mm-hmm.
His whole family was boxers. He's seen every single type of boxer from all over the world. MIKURU is not going to offer anything that he has never seen.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mismatch. I think it's the whole interesting thing is going to be on what Floyd plans to do with the fight, how he plans to fight it, how long is he going to stretch the fight out. I mean, if it was a real fight, I think Mikuru wouldn't last around.
Wow. Okay.
But no, he's actually said something in a press conference about the Tenshin fight ended too fast.
Yeah.
And he wants to, you know, give the fans more of a show, and he's hoping that it can go 5 rounds. So I mean, lucky for Mikuru or unlucky for Mikuru that he's going to stretch it out. It sounds like he's going to stretch it out to 5 rounds. That might be good because Mikuru has a chance to hopefully get a lucky shot, which I think is probably not even going to happen. But on the other hand, it might be bad for Mikuru because then he has to take 5 rounds of, you know, frustration.
There was a lot of questions going into this fight. You know, will Mayweather even turn up on time, right? They've got quite a strict schedule with the way the show is. They've got Super Rizin, and then there's like a intermission, and then there's Rizin 38. So I'm kind of interested to see whether he turns up on time.
I think as a professional, I think Mayweather will show up on time as a professional because he's getting paid a lot of money to show up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good news to hear. I don't want to be waiting all the way up at night waiting for him to come out. One of the things that threw a lot of people off was Mayweather's interpreter, translator, Ren Hiramoto, making an appearance. I don't know if you were able to say this, but how much of that was? I mean, do they know each other? It seemed more like Ren and Mikuru, you know, continuing that rivalry, I guess, more than anything.
Well, I didn't even know that was going to happen. I don't know anything behind what it was, but if you want to ask my opinion, it was Floyd didn't tell him. He just said what he wanted to say.
Yeah.
I don't think he even knows his name. And I believe that was all some kind of little circus thing that Rising put out, and Floyd just went along with it. I don't know. Floyd didn't tell him. Floyd didn't have him translate. I don't think Ren even understands English. So that's it. That was kind of confusing to me because I didn't know it was happening, and 2, I was thinking, who's going to believe this?
Yeah, I think I don't know whether people would, but the thing that sort of gave it away to me was some of the insults that he was throwing. It was kind of like Mikuru is an eggplant or whatever it was. Like that's not how Mayweather talks, right? So like, it just seemed a bit strange, but it was entertaining to say the least. So.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. It was more of the entertainment aspect. And, you know, I thought it was weird. I don't know if anybody really was actually entertained by it, but
yeah,
probably some people were.
There was the Hagiwara was talking a lot of smack talk, to Suzuki as well about that whole scandal that came out about Suzuki and the older lady. I saw that was translated.
Oh, what happened with that? I didn't even hear that.
Oh, you didn't hear that? So there's a scandal with Suzuki where some lady apparently was a big sponsor for Rizin. I think she did the trigger shows. You remember hearing about this? Yeah. I read about it.
The relief funds of that big scandal.
Yeah.
So she sponsors Suzuki.
More than that, I think. There's some talk about how they might have been involved romantically.
Makes sense. I met her because we wore their shirt on Shoshi's fight with jeez, I think it was the fight with the Saint, I think.
Right.
They wanted us to wear their shirts. I met her. So she's definitely not she's not like an old lady. She's she's a average regular
yeah.
lady. So yeah, I can believe that. And she did love the fighter. She was on the scene, so I didn't hear nothing about that, but I mean, if you tell me that there was some kind of relationship going on, I wouldn't be too surprised.
Yeah. CJ reported it, so I'll have to send you the article. But I think it's sohu-kaktogi.com. He put some information out there around what happened, so it's worth checking out. Yeah, but Hagiwara seemed to know all about it and be airing his dirty laundry at the press conference, which I thought was
damn! I didn't see that part. I wasn't really watching it. Oh damn!
Yeah, that was to be.
I was too worried trying to get BJ down.
Yeah, I think that was literally probably when you were trying to get BJ, right? So
yeah.
That was a lot more entertaining smack talk, because I have to say, the one thing that really hits me with this fight is that no one's asking Mikuru any questions, right? And he feels like he's a complete afterthought. I mean, like I said earlier about Mayweather, I don't think he even knows his name. And yet all the media, every time they have these guys come in, they never ask him any questions. They even like started to finish up and they were like, oh, Mikuru hasn't said anything, right? It was bizarre.
Wait, I did notice that. Yeah, Mikuru was kind of just sitting down.
Yeah.
And everything was going to Mayweather. I did notice that. I think Mikuru actually mentioned something about that, but how ridiculous that was.
Yeah. I don't know. It just it kind of shocks me that, well, one, it's like the media, right? Like someone ask him a question, for Christ's sake. But the other part is just, I'm just surprised that I don't know. He should have got some jabs into Mayweather, right? He should have said, like, you know, like how McGregor got in the whole you can't read and all that sort of stuff. So
I don't think it's his style, so
maybe not. Although he does like to talk shit to like Ren Hiromoto and Hagiwara, right? He's done some quite good shit talk there, but maybe because it's Mayweather, I don't know. But obviously, you know, one of the big things at the end of the press conference was you were talking about how the Hawaii tryouts were going to be in a couple of days' time. Tell us about the tryouts. How did the tryouts go?
Amazing. It was super awesome because it was a big chance for the fighters of Hawaii, and everyone, you know, jumped on the chance. I could see in the eyes of the Hawaii fighters when we were there that they were like, they knew that this could be a life-changing thing. They were there, like, I think, pumped up, just like they were fighting in a huge fight. You know, it's kind of cool because Tyson Nam came down, Max Holloway brought his student. You know, BJ couldn't make it, but you know, we had a lot of the you know, Brandon Wolf, a lot of UFC fighters and, you know, big name fighters in Hawaii were there to support. So yeah, it was really good, man. I think Sakaki Bado was really impressed because the style that they love is what the Hawaii fighters do. And even with the mitts and the grappling, you know, they were really impressed. And I think Sakakibara them they got a lot more than they thought they were going to get. At the very end, where they did a sparring, you know, they had the finalists and they put them together according to weight, and they fought each other. That, you know, it was kind of unfortunate because the first fight they put in, they didn't really understand what was going on, so they did like a real soft sparring kind of thing. And I was there telling them, go harder. But it almost sounded like I was just a fan outside yelling in. So I made it a point after the first fight is to go into the cage and just let these guys, hey, guys, man, this is not a sparring session. This is for you to prove yourself to Rising. So give everything you got, man. And just go for it. And, man, after that, all the fights after that was hardcore, exciting throwdowns. You know, Hawaii boys, they like to throw down, and they were throwing down, and it was heavy leather. So after every, you know, match, I would go over to Sakakibara and we'd look at each other like, holy shit, both these guys are good. You know, there's so many of that both these guys are good. Wow, this is impressive. This is unreal. So they're excited. I think it ended up we picked up 9 guys. and two of them weren't there because two of them, you know, it was the first time we've ever done anything like this, so it was really hard because when we did the striking, it was easy to mark down the striking. You know, who's good, who's not good. You know, we gotta watch this guy. We gotta watch this guy. But you know, as you know, grappling, you're not gonna tell how good a grappler is unless you watch him for a minute or two on the ground. And it depends on the opponent. If they're not actively, you know, rolling with each other, you don't see anything until 2 minutes sometimes. So to actually get a gauge on the guys on the ground was really hard. And there are so many of them, you know, and the numbers are falling off. The numbers were you couldn't see the numbers, some of them. So that got really hard. So I believe we did miss some guys, you know. So there are guys that probably should be in the finals but didn't get in because, you know, we missed a number, or we just, one guy saw him, the other guy didn't. We got, I think, most of the guys, but there were some guys that I believe we did miss. I did say it in the end that I apologize. I don't think there's a chance we're missing some of you guys. But overall, Rising was really happy with the tryouts. They were really happy with the fire of the Hawaii fighters, and their plan is to have the fight Rising Hawaii in the summer, and those fighters are definitely going to be on the card. And they didn't just look for fighters for Rising Hawaii. They're looking for fighters for Rising, period. So those 9 fighters that was put on the roster now are definitely going to be called up to Japan at one time or another next year.
Wow, that's really cool. What? So
my dream for that is, you know, my whole life has been revolved around that. My whole life is what it is now because of fighting. And if that opportunity can come to another Hawaii boy, I mean, that means a lot to me. So if I can be a part of that, or it can be a reason why that happened, I'm 100% in support of that. And you know, Rising Hawaii, what they have Hawaii have another tryout, I'm definitely going to be a part of it, and I'll assist them in any way I can.
Nice. Yeah, it must be nice to do a sort of kind of come full circle, right? You know?
Yeah, beautiful. It feels beautiful.
Yeah. So just a couple of quick questions on it. How many people do you think overall turned up to the tryouts?
There were 70 applicants, and I think about 75 came down.
Wow. Okay. And
I
then
think 4 or 5 were just strikers, which was unfortunate because they're super good strikers, and they're definitely guys that definitely would be caught up to Rising eventually, but they were concentrated so much on MMA, and we were really overwhelmed with the amount of people that we really couldn't acknowledge them. So I did make sure Sakaki Bada them had a note of those guys, and hopefully, Rising has kickboxing rules and MMA rules.
Yeah, it's got both, right?
One of those, the kickboxing rules, they'll call those guys up.
That's pretty cool. It's good to see them, incorporating both. So you mentioned a little bit on the format. So there was fights. So just before so how did you guys work out the matchups and that sort of stuff? If there's like 75 people, you kind of.
So what we did was the first round of tryouts was all mitts. So all the standing, we didn't, because of possible injuries, and we just had them all hit mitts with their mitt holders. So we did that. We had about 5 or 6 groups on the mat at one time. So, we had a 3-minute round. So, with 70 people, you say about 10 rounds, 11 rounds, it's all over. 3 minutes at a time, you're talking 40, 50 minutes, less than an hour, and it's all over. And the grappling, we did the same thing. We matched up 2 same weight class. We they had them all separated into featherweight, welterweight, lightweight, all those. And they called out all those numbers, put them together. And they had a 3-minute sparring session. And from there, after the sparring session was done, we had a little meeting. We checked out all each other's picks on who we think should be in the finals. We kind of got together where we, if 2 or more people had that number circled, then that number was called out. And we had about 18 to 20 finalists. We matched them up together. One of the girls that got called in, she didn't have anyone her size. And Sakaki Bada and even Mikuru, they really liked her from the very beginning. and she was just automatically, without even going into the finals. So I was kind of surprised because Sakakibara went up and just gave her the gloves. Yeah, and so she's kind of pretty much, whoa, before they even decided the finals, she's like, "Oh, I guess you're decided. You're in, man. You got the gloves already." He gave him rising gloves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, he must have seen something.
Yeah, so that girl who was picked, she actually trains with Angela Leadham at BJJ United, and her name was Mariah Miller. Little girl, but I remember going to BJJ United a couple of days before, and the coach, Ken Lee, is his name Ken?
Not too sure.
Oh shit! So Angela's father, he actually pointed her out, and I saw her sparring there, and I recognized her because she's a cute girl with very short hair, tiny little girl. So I was like, "Oh, she's tiny. She's perfect for Japan size." There's probably a lot of opponents for her. So she was one of them that was immediately given directly from Sakakibara, straight up give him the gloves. And the other guys, I have a list right here. So it was Jeremy Santiago, Blaine Realm, Tyson Kauhine, Martin Day, Tim Tevez, and Zach Zane. It was real funny because I'll tell you a story about Zach Zane. Is Zach actually was supposed to fight in bare knuckle fighting a couple of days before that.
Oh, really?
And when
wow.
he saw the rising tryouts, he actually messaged me saying that he has a bare knuckle, but if there's opportunity in rising, he'll cancel that and come down to it.
No way.
And I told him that, yeah, this is your chance. And he canceled it, came down, and it paid off. You know, he was picked. Yeah. He cried when he got picked because I guess he made so much sacrifices for it.
Yeah.
He was like one that I was really rooting for. I liked him. I liked, you know, his last fight was in Eagle FC. He's fought in Bellator before. So he's a legit, you know, veteran.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was hoping that, you know, I liked him. I liked the way when he sparred. He's a brown belt in jiu-jitsu, really good ground, and his look is real good. Good looking kid, a lot of tattoos, bad boy, you know. So perfect for Japan. So I actually wanted him to even go in without even a tryout, but because there are so many big names in the tryout that we decided that he had to just go to the tryouts. There was two names, Dustin KUMURA. He fought in the UFC before. He's one of Max's students.
Right.
He injured his knee during the grappling sparring.
No way.
But Dustin was also one of the fighters that when I talked to Sakakibara about him, he was one of those that, man, he doesn't really need to try out, does he? But let's put him through the tryouts. Right. So when he got hurt, I notified Dustin and told him, you know, you're pretty much already in. Go take care of your knee. I'll make sure you get in. And I went and talked to Sakakibara in the panel, and they agreed to bring him in. And there was another guy, Zane KAMAKA. We just totally missed him, man. Yeah, I forget what his number was. I think his number was 57. But It was funny because when he was hitting mitts, he stood out. He was good. So even MIKURU, Sakakibara, we all they all come, who's 57? Oh, 57, number 57. It was all about him. So the fact that we forgot to call him out for the finalists was totally our mistake. So after we called the finalists, and the finalist was getting ready to get in the ring to do the last sparring, I think Sakakibara said, "Hey, where's 57?" And we're like, "Holy shit, 57, yeah." So we made an announcement for Zane KAMAKA, and he had already left.
No way.
Yeah, so, you know, he was definitely someone that was already in. So, I mean, turned out really good for him because without even doing the final sparring, he was already. So the guys who weren't there that were also picked was Dustin KUMURA and Zane KAMAKA. So those two guys were also in that we didn't get a picture of, and we didn't get to like let them know directly, but they probably know by now.
Yeah, cool. If they don't, they do now, right? So.
Good talent, man. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to showcasing the talent that Hawaii's got. Hawaii's got stars in there. They got stars. These guys are game. These guys are ready to throw down, and I'm excited to, have great representation for Hawaii.
Yeah, no, it sounds exciting. I'm looking forward to see those shows. I'm looking forward to seeing some of those guys come out to Japan as well, right? Sometimes it's about all having that sort of star-making performance, isn't it? Like, that's the cool thing about Rising. You can kind of become a star sort of overnight just in one performance, So
yeah, so I want to see if I'm actually going to propose that idea to Rising to see if we can get some of those fly these Hawaii boys out to Japan for the year-end show. They can see what the show is like, and even introduce them in the ring. Because with the YouTube, the YouTube's highlighted a lot of them, especially ZAYNE. He was highlighted a lot in that. So, because ZAYNE actually sparred with one of MIKURU's guys and did really well. Yeah, so Zach's probably going to be a name that's already pretty much known to Japan. So I think that would be a good idea to bring him up, and introduce him in the ring, and introduce to the Japanese fans. There's going to be a Rising Hawaii, because Japanese fans want any reason to go to Hawaii, and to watch the Rising event would be a damn good reason for them to fly to Hawaii. So I think when Rising has an event in Hawaii, a lot of the seats going to be taken by Japanese fans. Yeah. So I'm hoping they can do that. I'm going to propose it to them to try fly up some of the Hawaii fighters.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds good, man. It sounds like a good format. I think a lot of people were sort of speculating when they saw MIKURU. They're like, oh, is this going to be like breaking down? Like, are they going to have people walk off the street? But no, it sounds like, legit talent. People are really giving it their all. So it's good to see, man. Any other notes, any funny stories or anything like that you want to share with your time doing all this stuff for Ryzen?
Funny stories. Yeah, well, we're supposed to. They're moved. They're so busy, and so it was so crazy that they wanted to. They put BJ in a really nice room, and BJ was super cool because he offered to. There's a place in Hawaii in the Big Island called Waipio, and it's a beautiful area. Nobody can go there. Only the people who live there. Not only is it they only allow residents that live there. It's hard to get to. You need a 4-wheel drive to get there. You get in there, there's beautiful waterfalls. There is still cultivating food from the land, making taro in the dirt, and it's like, I hear it's almost like some type of paradise. And the crazy thing is BJ actually extended his invitation to us to go down there.
Wow, that's cool.
To bring the Rising guys down, to bring everyone down there, and I was game. I cleared my schedule, but Hagiwara couldn't make it. So that was something No, so I told BJ, regardless if they can come or not next time, I'm taking a rain check on that. He goes, hell yeah. And said, anytime you're ready, come down to YPO and he's going to take me around. So I'm looking forward to that, man. I was really looking forward to that. I cleared all my schedule for it, and they couldn't make it, so it was kind of bummers. But yeah,
that sounds so cool. I've never heard of that before. Like exclusive.
Yeah, try looking on the internet. YPO.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out.
Waipio Valley. It's amazing, beautiful. BJ even sent me some pictures saying, I want to take you here, and had waterfalls. He has 2 houses down there.
Wow.
And he has one right in front of the waterfall, he says. So it's like, wow, it's like something you want to go there. And I mean, I wish I could bring Sarah down there. Something as beautiful as that. I think she would really appreciate something like that. But we got the crew here. Don't think that's going to be happening anytime soon. We got all the crew, so someone's got to watch the crew. So probably not anytime soon.
I know all about the anchors, but yeah, always holding us back, eh? But yeah, no, that's awesome, man. Well, I think if anyone's got any questions that we didn't cover, put it in the comments. Enson will try and answer it if you're allowed. I don't know what you can and can't say, but we pretty much kind of got into everything, I think. But if anyone has any questions, ask away. Please like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. Any parting words, Enson?
No, look forward to a Rising Hawaii coming up. Rising is trying to make its break into the world scene. Up until now, they've pretty much been secluded in Japan. but they're going to move to Hawaii. They want to move to the States. It's going to be like a big thing where they're going to break into the main circuit, MMA circuit. So they want to become a big name like UFC, Bellator, ONE FC, PFL, Rising. You know, they're that's their goal. So look forward to that.
Cool. I fully support it. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll speak again soon.
Right, that was cool. So remember, if you have any questions, put in the comments. I'll answer them all. I look at all the comments, and make sure you like and subscribe and share. Right on. I hope you enjoyed it.